Hi, welcome back to Fighting 50. Today, Juls Abernethy is with me. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Pretty close.
I should have practiced that for a little bit longer. Juls is here with me. Juls is one half of the founders of the Body Retreat. And I'm hoping today you're going to explain to me a little bit more about why you started the retreat. Who you are actually aiming at, because I think we all need it. I've actually recently just been on a stress retreat with Juls, and it has an extraordinary impact on your life. So tell me, what inspired you to start the retreat?
So I founded the Body Retreat with Julie Brealy, who you met when you were with us. And Julie was one of the first people to bring over the idea of the residential weight loss boot camp into the UK.
Really?
And so she had done that for a few years before I met her 8 years ago. But she was quite sort of disillusioned with boot camp life. It didn't suit her style, her ethos.
It's a bit brutal, isn't it? I mean, I've never been on one, but when I've actually seen videos and things, I just can't imagine doing it, really.
They can be, but I have to be honest and say, I think it's horses for courses. It works really well for some people, and some people enjoy that style, but it isn't for everyone. And I don't think it worked well for Julie. And so she was at a point where she was looking to have something that she felt she wanted to work only with women,
right?
Because she had done mixed events and she felt there was quite a difference between training with men and women. And also there are differences between our physiological, psychological and emotional health as well too. And as it happened, she and I met on a holiday.
Oh really?
I know, on an activity holiday. And my background originally was human resources, but I'd also started to dabble a little bit in coaching and hypnotherapy and NLP. And when we met, it was as if a light bulb went on over my head, and I thought I could use some of my coaching skills and therapy skills to support her and what she's doing. And that was where the germ of the idea came about, that we would design a health retreat that was aimed just at women, that really specialised and focused on issues that women face in their health throughout all of their lives. And that's where we started 8 years ago now.
So you offer a range of different retreats.
We do.
So what are the retreats that you're offering?
So we decided, well, we didn't decide, we realised, I suppose is a better word, that there is no one size fits all when it comes to women's health.
Or women.
Or women, exactly. This is very true. And we don't all need the same thing at the same time. So we offer 5 different types of retreats. So we're quite unique in that we're the only health retreat company that's run by women for women. And we run 5 different retreats. So we have a weight loss retreat. If you're a woman who has a longer weight loss journey to go on, then we have our body breakthrough retreat that's got more psychological support. Then we have our sugar detox retreat for people who have issues around sugar, carbohydrate addiction, energy. The stress reset retreat, which we were lucky to have you join us on. And then finally, our last retreat is the healthy holiday, because we were finding that a lot of women were coming back to us every year because they enjoyed time out, they enjoyed being active, they enjoyed eating nice food. And so we developed the healthy holiday because it does exactly what it says in the tin. It's a holiday for women who like to be healthy.
Yeah, because I think what I found from the retreat was it was a very good mix of nurturing, but also putting you in a position where you really cared. For me, the hardest thing is to find time to work out, fitting it into my schedule. To be able to take myself out of an environment that I'm normally in. I run my own business, I've still got a family at home. Each day is fairly pressurised and full. To be able to take myself away from that and just concentrate on me, where I'm focusing on what I'm eating, how I'm exercising, how I'm relaxing, was so important. So as well as the 3 sessions of exercise and sauna and swimming, there's a lot of nurturing as well, isn't there?
And that's we sort of, when we sat down to design the body retreat and the retreats, we kind of wanted to make the environment and the space. So it's not necessarily that it's one house, because we also have 4 retreat venues that we use, but we wanted it to be a place where we would want to go as women. We wanted it to feel, nurturing is a great word, it's one of the words we like to use, not in a cosseting sort of matronly way.
No, giving you a chance to actually, get in touch with yourself again. I mean, I think I spent half my life kind of out of my body, if you like. I'm already, my mind's thinking about other things, thinking about other people, just constantly thinking about everything else and not about me.
And that's exactly the women who generally do choose to join us at the Body Retreat. They are busy, professional, successful women. They are running, careers, businesses, families, and their time is not their own. And unfortunately, as you know yourself, when it comes to your own needs, they go right down the bottom of the list of priorities.
Always.
It's always when I have time, next week, next month, next year. And then eventually you can't cheat biology, and eventually things will start to catch you up a little bit. And that's when it's nice to come away. And we would say that when you come away to the Body Retreat in particular, there are no distractions, no interruptions, no temptations, but there's also no excuses. It's that opportunity to have time to reflect on what you need in your health and well-being right now in that moment. And we're not a navel-gazing retreat, as you know, we're quite an active retreat. It's not a spa where you come along, you're given a robe and you're sort of fluffed up for the whole week. We are more of an active retreat. We want to keep you moving, but also having time to do nothing.
I think the other thing that I found really interesting was it's not pressurized. You don't feel, although you're attending Pilates and yoga and HIIT routines, you don't feel under pressure. You're not competing with anybody else, you're only working with yourself, and you are so encouraging that even if you haven't been exercising a lot, or you're maybe trying a discipline that you've never tried before, maybe you haven't done Pilates or yoga, you really take people right from the beginning and help them to find out more about this exercise and how to do it. So you don't feel that pressure, you don't feel, oh my god, I've got another exercise session, how am I going to deal with it? You're guided into this very well, which I find good.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that both Julie, who runs that side of the programme, and the other women that work with us, one of their great skills, and they would never say it themselves, so I do say this, is that they are really good at working with the individual. So whether you're someone who works out regularly, or you're a runner, or you're a yoga, or you're in the gym all the time, or perhaps you've not done any exercise for years, they can tailor to make sure that you are being challenged in a way that feels right for you, so you step outside your comfort zone, but also that you're not feeling harassed and harangued, that you're actually thinking, gosh, I can do this. And this is actually maybe a bit of fun as well. And then when it feels good, you want to do more of it. So then you start finding things you want to take home from retreat, not because it was an hour-long session and it was grueling and no pain, no gain. That's not our kind of ethos. It's more about, you've enjoyed that. Do you enjoy how it makes you feel? How could that work in your everyday life?
I think that's the other thing that I took away, that everything that I learnt in the time I was with you, I could do at home. I didn't have to go to a gym. I didn't have to have a lot of specific equipment. I could actually continue that exercise program when I got home. Now, the other thing I want to mention, because I know it's your passion and something that I thoroughly enjoyed, was the food. Now, you spent a lot of time creating menus and superb dishes for people on the retreat. Now, I know this is your passion.
This is my passion. I am a foodie, it has to be said. I do love my food, and I am anti-diet food. I don't think that food needs to be boring or bland to be healthy. And I do work, I'm being self-effacing, but I do work very hard to make sure.
You really do.
Every retreat has a completely different menu. They're all based on local, organic and seasonal produce, so we try to bring that element in, because for us it's about maximising health in every bite. It's not about calorie deprivation, it's about eating the right food at the right time in the right way to nourish both body and mind. But it all starts for me with the aesthetic. I like it to look good and it tastes good and then do good at the same time. So
have a look at Juls's Instagram account. We'll put a link at the bottom of the video because you'll see some of the food and it is as good as it looks. And that's something that was interesting for me because I think I probably ate quite a bit smaller portions while I was on the retreat. I never ever felt hungry. So that's something you work hard to do, don't you, with the nutritional value of all the food. So maybe you're actually having smaller portion size, but you're actually totally fulfilled.
And because we look at nutritional density, that's the thing that we talk about a lot on retreat. So you may be eating more good quality protein or fat and fibre. That's what we tend to base our meal plans around, rather than those quick energy release foods like carbohydrates. That's not to say that you never eat bread or potato or rice or anything like that ever, or on the body retreat, but it's the type of food that we put together, when we would recommend that you have it, and so the idea is that we often overeat by, it's estimated we overeat by 25%.
Is that just me?
No, that's everybody. I mean, plate sizes have almost doubled in the last 20 years. And so everything we eat tends to be that bit bigger. And actually coming away on retreat is an opportunity to say just what you need personally for your body, what you need for your energy levels, how good your mind can feel. And that's a big thing for me, is I'm really fascinated by how food affects the brain.
Very much so.
Particularly because the women who come to us are busy professional women. Being on it, having clear brain, having a sharp mind, feeling energized, not feeling fatigued, and also not on the roller coaster from one coffee to the next to try and get themselves through the day. And that all starts with good food.
So what you're doing is you're offering women a chance of literally kind of putting a full stop and saying, okay, this is where I am now. Working with them towards a goal of where they want to be, whether that be, less stress, less weight, how we live our lives has changed so dramatically, hasn't it? We're not moving as much, we're eating too much. So what you can do is really put that full stop in and say, okay, here's your plan for the future, and you'll work with somebody over a week to actually put that into place. And at first I wondered if the period of time that I spent was going to be enough to kind of change your thinking, but it really is. I mean, 4 days I think we were together, and in those 4 days it's extraordinary how your body changes, how your mind changes, and your attitude, which I found quite extraordinary.
And I think it's because you are not in your home environment.
Submerged.
You are completely in a little retreat bubble for those few days, and it's all about you. And for so many women, and I don't know if this was true for you, they arrive and they haven't really thought about themselves for years, if not decades. And then you have this opportunity, and some women feel a bit frightened of that because they feel a bit like it's selfish to think about myself, or to spend money on myself, or to invest this time in myself, or they kind of jostle against it a little bit because they think, I'm used to being in control. And there's a certain degree of relinquishing some control on retreat, because we will tell you what time to get up in the morning, what to wear, what to eat, when to turn up to this. But then that allows the brain to then just relax and think about what's really important for you, rather than the next thing on the to-do list and just be ticking those off.
I think age comes into this a little bit as well, because I know through my 30s and 40s, and people have said to me before, how do you feel when you were 30? How do you feel when you were 40? I was so involved with the family, I had young children when I was 30 and 40, and they were my focus, and I just literally focused on the family and didn't have time for me. The first time I went away on my own, I was 47, and the second time I went on my own was when I came to the body retreat. So when I was 57, I'm now 58, it was only a few weeks ago, but I've had a birthday since then. So all that time, I focused on the family as well as starting a business, and I think a lot of women get caught up in that, don't they?
And they do, and I think it's a very natural thing to do, and what you repeatedly do becomes your habit. And so you don't get up in the morning and say, well, today I'm going to think about everyone else. Today I'm going to give all my time to the business. You're just in the flow. And then sometimes you can feel like I'm feeling a bit lost, I'm feeling a bit disconnected from my health, certain things aren't feeling quite right for me. And then you might start looking around, looking on the internet, Dr. Google, read some books, and
get completely confused.
Get quite overwhelmed. That's exactly it. We see a lot of women who join us and they go, I have read everything and I'm no further forward with my thinking. And they get frustrated because they think, I'm smart, I'm bright, I'm successful. Why can't I crack this? And sometimes it's because they're too in the moment, too invested in it.
But do you think sometimes you need somebody else to look at you and say, actually, I can see where you're going wrong? Sometimes you just can't do it for yourself.
And I think that's one of the things that we look to do at the Body Retreat. We would consider ourselves guides rather than, we're not gurus and we're not there to preach or teach and tell. Although I guess there's some of that goes on in a sort of soft way. But it's much more about us getting you to focus on what you need. I'm a real believer that women are very intuitive as well. They know what they need. You can probably look at your own family and you know their mood, you know their health, you know their state of mind, but you disconnect from yourself in a way. So it's part of my role is to help you to reconnect.
Sometimes
to
you
that.
just don't have time, do you? You just don't have time to look at what's wrong with you. And I think, again, coming back, I know everything isn't about age, but you get to a stage in your life where you go, okay, what's in it for me? I'm doing all this, I'm working, and also, you hit your 50s, and often you're looking after your parents, your grandchildren, your partner, your children. You're trying to keep all those balls in the air. You're juggling all the time. We are the sandwich generation that's working top and tail. And I think because of that, we're under quite a lot of pressure. And I think to be able to put a halt on it and just say, okay, what do I need to be fit and healthy for the rest of my life so I can still look after my parents, my partner, my grandchildren. You are giving people that ammunition, aren't you, to go forward and live. I have this great thing that if we, in our 40s, 50s, 60s, if we start really laying the foundations, we can live independently in the future. And that, for me, is my goal. I just don't want somebody else to wheel me out in the morning or wheel me back in the evening or wash and dress me. I want to be totally independent for as long as possible. And I think what you're doing is giving people the tools to be able to do that.
I think it's the tools and also to experience what it feels like. And whether you are 35 or 75, when we're looking at the lifestyle choices, we're looking at, can you get up off the floor? So a lot of our exercises are things like getting up and down from chairs. And it sounds so simple, and I don't mean to oversimplify what we're doing.
It is simple when you're 30, 40, maybe 50, but when you're 70, 80, it's not so simple, is it? Carrying your shopping home, doing your dress up, tying your shoelaces.
And when you're 35, you're not thinking about 75, let's be honest, you're not. But the closer you get to 50, the more you start thinking, well, actually 60.
The gap starts
closing,
doesn't it?
Next big birthday's going to be 60, and then you think about that. So for us, it's about living your life in the moment and having the health and the energy and that sense of well-being. So not just getting through the day, but actually feeling well, feeling energized, feeling engaged. And a lot of that comes from what you build from within, so the food that you eat and the energy you create through movement, but also self-care. So not burning yourself out, not burning the candle at both ends, recognizing that there is a time and a place for you to do nothing. To have time out for yourself.
And that doesn't mean sitting on your phone scrolling.
Absolutely. That's not the act.
That's not the idea, is it?
No.
I think we're all totally addicted to phones. And I must say, I thought, how am I going to get on, being on retreat and not, the phones aren't taken away from you. You've got your phone, you can use it if you want. But somehow, once you get on retreat and you get into that very nice environment where you're not having to be connected all the time. In fact, by the end of it, I got in the car to drive home and I just switched the phone off. And on the way there, I was thinking, on the way home, I'll phone this person, I'll phone that person, I'll catch up with them. It's like, no. After that time, you just think, no, I don't want the phone anywhere near me. And for quite a while, I can't say I've kept it up completely, but for quite a while, I actually just wasn't reliant on the phone.
And I think it's for each woman, when she comes away, to focus on what she needs right now. And I love my phone as well, and I'm often on social media too, it has to be said. And when you're working in your own business as well, it's also an important tool that we use. So, but I'm a magpie, and I'm as addicted to a little bit of Instagram as the next woman. But you don't need the social media, you don't need the phone. And sometimes it's just about stepping away and saying, well, actually, I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to read a magazine, or I'm going to go to bed early and not have the telly on and not have a device on. And just allow, I use the word decompression quite a lot, allow everything to just go, And when you've got lots of stimulation, whether it's people or devices or the laptop or whatever it might be, you're constantly giving.
Yes, of course.
So something's always being taken from you, and the opportunity to come away on retreat, and it's why we call them retreats, is it's an opportunity to retreat yourself, step away. The most important thing that we can give to women is the time to focus on themselves, and then go home thinking, well, I'm going to bring this bit in, and I'm going to bring that bit in, and that bit felt really good. And nobody lives retreat life unless,
No, well, you do.
I don't live retreat life, but there are elements that I certainly have.
And I think everybody will take something slightly different away from it. And I know I've taken a lot of things away from it. And as I say, a lot of it I'm still doing. Some of it, of course, I'm not, because it doesn't fit in with everyday life. But so, if somebody wants to come to one of your retreats, you've got a great website, so all the information's on there. And your retreats aren't just in the UK, are they? Some of them are in Europe as well.
Yes, so we're lucky enough to have a venue in Andalusia in beautiful Spain. That's really gorgeous. And a stunning place down in Bordeaux, just down in that Bordeaux region, which is really nice, which I'm actually off to in a couple of weeks. So
that's fun.
Yeah, so that's really nice. And then in the UK, we have a place in Dorset and Somerset. And for us, again, each of the venues are very different style, very different environment, and then that is reflected through the type of retreat as well. So again, it comes back to this, there's no one size fits all. If you come on the website and have a look, the first step before you've even booked something is often to have a conversation and say, this is where I am right now.
So people can call you, speak to you, or speak to Julie. It's slightly confusing because it's Julie and Jules.
We answer to anything. You can say Julie or Jules, and one of us will answer the questions.
So it's not so confusing when you're there, but it's slightly more confusing when you're listening. So, I mean, you're quite happy to chat to people, aren't you, and find out exactly what they're looking for and to fit them to the right retreat.
It's more than happy. We actually prefer that because we appreciate that when women are choosing to come on the body retreat, it is an investment. It's an investment of both time and money, and it's not a quick fix, and it's not a few days away at a spa or anything like that. We're about making short-term gains, but for long-term benefit. And so we want to make sure that you're on the right retreat for you. There's nothing worse than somebody just books something and then turns up and then they realise, oh, I'm not in the right place, this isn't right for me right now. So actually everybody who comes, probably 95% of everybody will speak to Julie. So she'll go through we've got quite a lengthy medical questionnaire, lifestyle questionnaire, your dietary, everything, and then we'll make sure that we're directing you to the right retreat. If you feel that it's not right for you and you want to come to something, at least we've had that conversation and then can tell you more about the retreat that you are maybe thinking about coming to. Because then we know you're going to get a great retreat experience. We're going to get a great retreat experience.
Yeah, of course.
Because as you know, we keep the numbers really small, between 5 and 10 women on every retreat. Julie and I work on every retreat all day.
Can I also just say that you take part in a lot of the exercise programs as well, don't you? And which is great, because I think it just shows that you are a normal woman like the rest of us, running a business under the same sort of pressure, but you know that you've got to exercise as well. So you really do get in and get involved with your guests as well, don't you?
Well, Julie leads Wake Up Workout every morning, so regardless of what retreat you come to, we start every day with movement, because we really believe that, particularly for busy professional women, get up and get moving before your brain comes up with excuses as
Or
to
before
why.
something else starts.
Exactly, before you get into anything else. So we do these little short pre-breakfast workouts, and I love that, because then it doesn't matter what else happens in the day.
You're done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I've moved and I've sweated, and then I can have my shower, and then I cook breakfast or something like that. And I'm lucky because then I pick and choose the classes I enjoy. So I love a bit of yoga and things like that. So I'll often make sure my day fits around that. But that's what I want other women to do, is choose what works for them.
And incorporate
it in the way that works for them too. Because it's all about choice. We were saying earlier, we're all individuals. We're not all the same size or shape or background or ethnicity, race, whatever. We're all different.
Yeah.
And what we need and want is different too. And we see that every week in, week out, a very different group of women coming on the body retreat. But they all have the core goal of wanting to make a change for themselves right now. But what that might be will be different, and how we're going to get them to the end result will be different as well.
Okay, so if you feel that you've got to that point in your life where there's something that's not quite right, whether you're not exercising enough, whether you're not eating healthily, whether you're trying to lose some weight, I found for me this was an extremely good way to actually start this program and to rethink. It really makes you stop and think about how you're living your life and how you can actually improve it. The one thing I have to say is I love the hypnotherapy sessions in the evening. They were so good. I mean, get you off to sleep. Nobody can get you off to sleep like Juls. Amazing. So we're going to put under the video all the information about the body retreat, links to the website, and probably put your number on there as well.
Yeah,
so you can call. And any questions, if you've got any questions about the body retreat, please either drop them below the video, we'll get Juls or Julie to answer them, or email info@fighting50.co.uk, and we will pass those on and make sure that they get answered as well. So Juls, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed my retreat. There's an article on the website that you can have a look if you want to know more about my experience, and some photographs as well. There's a rather cute dog as well. Bella is very, very cute. We had a lot of fun with her. So thanks for watching, Juls. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for making us your second ever trip away alone.
I know, second ever one alone. Gosh, yeah, I'm going to do it more often.
We've started a bug now.
Yeah, we started a trend. Maybe not mention this to my husband. Juls, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Tracey.